Well, let's go out to the West Coast and let's welcome in Brennan Batchelor, the play-by-play voice for the Vancouver Canucks. And we say Merry Christmas, Brennan, and Happy Holidays.
And to you and to all your viewers as well. How are you today?
Hey, we're doing great. We're back home too. I don't know if this is the high school in Wynyard, Saskatchewan. Little community of under 2,000 people where I grew up.
Good stuff.
And the only place in town with good enough Wi-Fi to do the internet, to do the show. So it was kind of by default. But, amidst all the, uncertainty and everything that's happening in the NHL, what's up for in the Batchelor household for the holidays?
Yeah, well, we're going to get together with my parents. My wife and I had a baby daughter in March, so it's her first Christmas. So that's all very exciting for us. And we'll get together, have a nice dinner with my parents a couple of days from now. So it'll be good.
That's awesome. And, for Vancouver sports fans and Vancouver Canucks fans specifically, how would you describe the holidays right now and the mood they're in? Because, a month ago, this team was in a much different situation than they are today. And I would say that the Vancouver Canucks fans are probably feeling better than almost any other fan base in Canada right now, winning 6 in a row, 8 of 10, and everything looks to be pretty positive on the West Coast.
Yeah, it was almost a disappointment for many people that, games had to be postponed here, certainly with the way the team had been playing. They had a big game against the Maple Leafs coming up that was postponed last weekend. So with the way the team had been playing, you wanted to continue to see the good times rolling under Bruce Boudreau, now 6-0 since he took over as the head coach. And they've really looked like a completely different hockey team from the club we saw, as you alluded to, even a month, maybe even a few weeks ago. And now the question is more around the hole they dug themselves early in the season and whether it's too big of a hole to climb out of or whether they'll be able to get themselves back into the playoff conversation. And I guess we'll have to see how they do once things pick up. Hopefully on the 27th, they're scheduled to host the Seattle Kraken.
In a word, can you sum up who Bruce Boudreau is in a word?
Positive. That's the biggest thing that he's brought to this group is he's come in and brought an air of positivity. I don't want to say that the mood around the team was hopelessness prior to the coaching change, but it didn't seem like there was a lot of belief there. In Vancouver, all the conversations were about this being a lost season. And Bruce Boudreau came in and he brought an air of positivity and he got the players to believe that they could get back into this playoff picture, that they could, show that they are a better team than what they were through the first quarter of the season. And he has got buy-in. And it's funny because, in today's day and age, we see all the analytical models and percentage chance of a team making the playoffs after they get off to a bad start. But when Boudreau arrived, he said, look, we're 9 points out of the playoffs. I just want us to try and win every week. And if we can gain 1 point in the standings every week, then in 9 weeks from now, we'll be back in a playoff spot. And it seems like when you boil it down that way, regaining control of your own fate and getting back into a conversation where you can contend for a playoff spot seems a lot more attainable than maybe it would if you look at probabilities and think about what your overall record has to be the rest of the season to climb back up in the standings. So he's gotten buy-in from sort of that short-term, let's win this week, let's just worry about the games we've got coming up and not look long-term. And the team has been playing for him, and they've played very well.
Well, clearly they have, and it's an exciting group to watch. And, as we move into the Christmas break, what would be on the Canucks holiday wish list in terms of what's missing from this group or what player hasn't, still has something left that we haven't seen? What's on the holiday wish list for the Vancouver Canucks?
Well, if they're looking to improve in the short term, it's the right side of the blue line that is going to need a lot of help. They could also really use a right shot centerman. They have Brandon Sutter in the organization. who has been dealing with long haul COVID symptoms, hasn't played yet this year. He was their only right shot centerman. So, particularly early in the season on the penalty kill, they, couldn't win faceoffs a lot of the time. And as a result, giving up all sorts of goals and, had a historically bad penalty kill up until the time of the coaching change. So right shot centerman, if we're looking in the short term for this team trying to win games this year, a right shot defenseman that can play in the top four would also be welcome. And then if you're looking longer term with this organization, it's restocking the cupboards with prospects because they're pretty bare right now. Jim Benning, in the last couple of years, as his tenure sort of came to an end, had moved out a lot of draft picks to try and improve the roster, moving a first-round pick in the JT Miller trade, moving another first-round pick in the Ekman-Larsson, Connor Garland trade. So that'll be a big part of Jim Rutherford's task here as the new president, and then whoever he brings in to be the general manager will be restocking the prospect cupboards, reacquiring some draft picks if possible, and, trying to ensure that there's a pipeline of players that can help feed this NHL roster for years to come.
Any idea when we can expect an announcement on a general manager or what the plan is for the Canucks and Jim Rutherford?
Yeah, when Rutherford came in as the president, he said he had a list of 40 candidates that he would consider for the GM that he needed to whittle down, and he's already started working on that. I know there have been rumors of Patrick Alvin being a front runner right now. He worked with Rutherford in Pittsburgh, so that's certainly a possibility. But I don't know if there's any certain timeline on that. I would imagine that in an ideal world, Rutherford would like to have someone in place ahead of the trade deadline so that they can come in and make the tweaks to the roster that they need to. But at the same time, Rutherford is an experienced NHL general manager who can do the job himself if he has to. So I would expect before the end of the season at the very least. But who knows? It'll all depend on who he wants to bring in.
Yeah, they're getting the right people in place, and Jim Rutherford is more than capable. Before I let you go, I got to ask you, because you can chalk me up in the list of people who had no clue that Rick Nash was called the Slim Reaper. Like, that's real life?
I know. Apparently, yeah. I was watching Jeopardy the other night, and they had that question. And I had never heard of it before. Apparently, there was a very brief period when he played for the New York Rangers where some of his teammates called him the Slim Reaper. It seems to be that it was more of a joke, actual nickname. So, I'll credit whoever works at Jeopardy doing the research. They dug deep for that one because I certainly had never heard it. And then I tweeted it out, and most people that I spoke to had never heard it either.
That's completely off the board in terms of nick. But I mean, Rick Nash will go down as one of the greats. He was really good for Columbus. He played on Team Canada, a real star player in the NHL. And to have that big of a profile, and I know he played most of his career in Columbus, but even to New York, for that not to get out or become mainstream, I think is wild.
Yeah, I was shocked at the question because, as a hockey guy, whenever you watch Jeopardy and there's a hockey question that comes up, your ears perk up and you're like, oh, okay, great. This is awesome. I know I'm going to get this one. I might not know 95% of the answers to the other questions, and I had no clue on that one. So you learn something every day, I guess.
Unbelievable. Brennan, I appreciate this and taking the time over the holidays. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and all the best here throughout the season.
Yep, thanks very much. Talk to you soon.
Brendan Batchelor is the voice of the Vancouver Canucks on Sportsnet 650.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching the RP Show on YouTube. And don't forget, we're live daily on YouTube from noon to 2 Eastern. If you like what you see, hit subscribe. And if you like the program, check around for other segments of The Rod Pedersen Show here on YouTube.